Okay, that one is on.
Alright. And now I'm starting the swivel. Alright, so first of all, and y'all come, let's start with our celebration. So what are we celebrating this week?
4 days.
4 days.
That's a good celebration.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. We have PD on, really good PD on Friday afternoon.
Which,
You're not gonna be here?
no, I will come to that.
Okay. Alright. What else are we celebrating?
But I want to come back.
Yeah, Friday and Caterpillar is our great.
We got more boxes unpacked at our new house.
Oh, that is good.
Mhm.
Anything else? Alright, so, moving on, so we're going to look at a new instructional strategy today with guided discussion, and so I'm gonna switch over to that PowerPoint also. Alright, and so we have our 3 focus areas from our small moves big gains, and target the talk. It's also guided discussion and stuff, so we're really gonna look at it as guided discussion. Excuse me. And we're gonna look at how we can utilize this in our classroom. And y'all have those in your, hopefully in your binders and stuff, to really look at the why and stuff. But we're gonna start off by doing a turn and talk. So we're gonna take 2 minutes to discuss with your ELBA partner why allowing student discussion is so important, okay? The person with the longest hair goes first. The person with the shortest hair is going to listen while monitoring the first minute. I'm hoping my timer comes back.
We should have traded places. Would have been easier.
If y'all would like to trade places, you can, but you don't have to. Alright,
So you don't have to judge who's got longer.
We just made a decision.
hold up your hand. When you're talking and stuff, just hold up your hand when it gets to a minute, partner B, so that the partner A knows, hey, it's about that time, and they can wrap it up, and then partner B will share after that. Alright, let's see. Where did my timer is missing. Okay, so I will tell y'all when to start, and I will hold the timer till I will let y'all know when it's a minute since my timer disappeared. Alright, y'all go ahead and start now.
So I think it's why it's important to turn it up
Yes.
to be engaged with their learning and discussing.
It makes
It also helps the kids to maybe show
Take a part
and be
in
interested
it.
in a little bit better that
Also, they can
learn
learn
feels.
if they're not sure.
It also gives them a chance to exercise those.
Knows.
And
then
When it's
when it's
talk.
their turn to talk, they have, you know, because I always tell them 2, 3, 4 brains, it's always better than 1. And if you don't know when you're struggling, then pull out that partner.
If there's dead time, can we do our part?
You can,
Yeah.
I don't like dead time.
I understand that.
Okay.
But see, the good thing is as this instructional strategy and stuff, because you have 15 seconds left, so
Okay.
it also pushes those kids and stuff to fill that time. And so even though you switch over and stuff, they'll naturally, because they don't like dead time either.
No, they
But
don't.
it is now a minute, so y'all can go ahead and switch.
I agree with the
Ditto.
same reason as
I just think it makes
the
every
you
kid
agree, but it
who might
also
not
helps
otherwise
each
talk out loud.
person
class
accountable.
get to voice their
which is
opinion.
great,
I also like it because
especially when you're doing 2
it
partners.
opens up a lot of
Because
ideas that
Everybody's gotta take their turn.
that kid, that
Then if you
that group
turn
might not have
and
had.
discuss it,
Or that I might not
know
have.
what the partner said after it.
You know,
Even
and
if you
actually, we
listen
did that
better,
this morning.
Right.
I don't know what we did, I can't remember what we did it on.
Just like
We turned it,
Because if
I
they
made them
have
do it at
2
their tables, I didn't make them do it.
partners said, then
Yes.
they have to
But,
pay attention.
yes, that's right.
And one group actually did it
That's
2
why I
and 2.
started doing the,
We were talking about the theme to the story, what do you think the theme of the story is?
you know, like the
And,
strategies.
it just
for
makes them all
everyone.
talk.
Mhm.
Alright, 10 seconds.
Ask a partner or ask a neighbor.
Yeah, if we were in my
And have
room
them talk
for
to that
3,
person, and that
2,
person has
1.
to repeat
If you were in my room, that's what we did.
Yes.
Kids would be counting down.
Alright.
Yes, they hold them accountable for that.
Thank y'all for adjusting with me, because I don't know what happened to my, I guess when I hit present, it disappeared, but I had a 2-minute timer on there from YouTube. Alright, so I need one person to share something that you said or that your partner shared. Of why guided discussion is so important in the classroom. Go ahead.
Michelle said that she liked it because if the person going is talking and discussing whatever it is, that the other one may not know as much, and just by listening to them, they may figure it out more and be able to discuss it when it's their turn.
Absolutely. And so that's the neat thing about partnering is, and so you can intentionally tell who's gonna be partner A and stuff, because you may know, hey, this kid really has it and this kid needs to hear it, so you can tell partner A to go first.
Yeah.
Alright,
You know, a lot of times you don't even have to tell them
yes,
who to go. They will take care of it themselves.
yes. So the why, students are more engaged when they are a part of the discussion. What we're seeing right now, one of the reasons we're doing this is we're seeing a lot of what we call TASA type discussions in the class, where it's teacher asked, student answered. And when we do that, we only know that the one kid that answered it truly knows the answer. And so when we're having the guided discussion and stuff, and we move around the classroom and we're listening to it, sometimes when you have them in small groups and stuff, you can almost stand in the middle of the room and you can jump into those conversations as you need to, but you hear it, and so we know that all the students are engaged in the conversation then, as long as we're actively monitoring. But we really can dive in and say, okay, that kid's got it, he's answering correctly and stuff, or this kid's struggling. Because even if you stand at the back of the classroom and stuff, you can see which kids, like, they finish really fast, so they don't have much to say on this topic. So we're needing to build that up. I like, so you said it, so students are able to hear each other's perspectives. A lot of times, kids understand what to do and stuff, but the way we say it just isn't on their level, and we struggle to break it down to that next level. And a kid will pop off with something that you're like, that's what I just said, but for whatever reason, when they hear a student say it, it clicks with them. And then I also like that if I have a misunderstanding and stuff, when a student explains it to me, sometimes in that moment, I'm like, oh, that's not the way I was taking it, so they're fixing their own misunderstandings in those discussion times. Or they may be willing to say, hey, no, you're explaining it wrong. Hey, try this way. So if we can build their capacity to politely and kindly correct each other. And then students retain more information from discussion than they do from lecture, and we're going to look at a pyramid here later in the presentation that really dives into that. Alright, so today's goals. So the first thing that I'm hoping when we leave here is that we understand, you gain an understanding of guided discussion in the classroom and why it's important for us to utilize it. And then the second goal is that hopefully you leave here with some strategies of how you can increase guided discussion and how to use guided discussion in the classroom. Alright, so there is a process for it. And I pulled it and simplified it off this because there are 6 steps. But just to get it started, if I'm struggling with the 6 steps, here's 3 easy steps to just get it started at the very beginning. So first you're going to craft a conversation, a question that requires conversation. You don't want it to just be a yes or no answer, or like in math and stuff, if they're like, oh, the answer's 3, and then that's the end of the discussion. We don't want those. We want them to really have to think through the problem. And then the second thing is be explicit on what you want the discussion to be about, and who's doing what talking. Who's going first. A lot of times because, so Ms. Robertson said it, a lot of them will, I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna eat it.
Okay. A lot of the times our kids will sit there and they won't talk about all this stuff just because I don't know what I need to say. So where if I'm posing a question, I say, hey, partner A has to say this, this, and this, and then partner B is listening, and then you're just giving them feedback on what they said. Like maybe partner B's not just sharing. Like I made y'all both share your own thoughts, but you may say, okay, partner A, y'all are sharing it. Partner B, now I want you to tell them one more way they can do it, or I want you to correct something that they did wrong. And kids are going to be more successful when they know what is expected. And then you're also going to have to give them a time limit, because if you, there's some kids that can talk all day long on a topic, and so if you don't limit them and stuff, they're just going to go and go and go and not get to the point. Or if I'm the kid that if you said you have to talk for a minute, I'm going to fill that space. But if you don't give me a time at all, I'm gonna say one word and I'm gonna be done. So, a lot of kids that will help them. So here is, and I'm not gonna read all these to you, but just an example of questions, that you can use to quickly get them conversing with each other.
Look at this.
Right, and then there are different types of partners, and so to me, this was important, because like I used elbow partner just then, and that was my go-to. But I actually did some research for this and really looked into what are the different ways we can partner. We've done the 7 strategies, and so there's things in there. But I liked, so elbow shoulder partners, what I've heard, but then they said elbow partner. So the person across. So if I want you to talk to your elbow partner now, well, I don't want you to just have the same discussion with them. Well, now do your elbow, so that's the person across the table from you. I like this. A teacher said they do a back partner because of the way their desks are, and a lot of us have those. It's the person back to back with you, turn and talk and stuff, so now you're sharing information not only at your table, but now it's going to other tables. And she did say be very intentional, because obviously you're gonna have kids without a back partner, so then you need to say, hey, back partner from table A needs to go to back partner from table B, or whatever your set is. Random selection, teacher can use an app, and it'll randomly select. I had these cards that I love to use, and as they were, if I know I was gonna do partners, I would pass them out when I was walking in the classroom. So like, it had peanut butter, and it had jelly. One was a baseball, one was a bat. So then and that was always hilarious to me, because some of the kids, you get a view
Don't know
into
who
their,
matches.
correct, and you get a view into their lack of just what I would assume is common knowledge. Like one time I had Mickey Mouse. And it was hilarious to me because he was looking for Goofy. It was Minnie Mouse. So without the concept of like, and he never came to me and stuff, and my Minnie Mouse person was quiet, so they were sitting there watching me like, okay, how long is it take to find me? And the kid really wasn't being obstinate without telling it stuff, but just a quiet kid. But it made me realize like, hey, what we think is an opposite isn't the same for everybody. So I like that it also gives you a little view into your students. In the 7 Steps book, Miss Han taught us
The away partners.
I love away partners.
I do too.
So she would do it in her journal at the very beginning of the year. She would draw a clock sometimes, when she did social studies, she did, a compass. And so it's a 12 o'clock partner, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock partner, or she would do north, east, west, south. So you could make it specific to your content. And then so she'd be like, hey, go find your west partner, go find your east partner. She also did one that I really liked where she played music and she said, hey, at the end of this, whoever's closest, and you just walked around, and then whenever the time stopped, whoever your hand was closest to was your partner. And
That's
then,
the one I remember, the
Yes.
music one that
yeah, I like that one. And then matching partner, it's find someone who is wearing the same color shirt as you, has the same birth month as you, same birthday as you. Those to me get a little bit more complicated just because it takes so long for them to figure out, and some of your kids don't know their birthdays. But I think if there was a way like you could like write it on a card or something, then they could find it a little bit faster. Alright? And then structure the conversation. So I do think that, especially as we're learning this skill, kids a lot of times will just start talking, so make sure you're saying, hey, you're gonna talk first. And like I did, longest hair talks first, second partner listens. Because the truth is, even at this age, students need to be able to be told, hey, this is what I do. Because they don't know to listen. Like we're used to, we can have a conversation and we know when to stop and listen to our partner. But these kids, they'll just talk right over you. Sometimes y'all are teaching and they're talking right over you. So we kind of underestimate how important this is and how much this can teach kids life skills. Alright, so this is the learning pyramid that I was talking about. To me, y'all know we do the literacy framework and we're looking for this in your classroom. This is something I'm looking, if I'm in your classroom, I'm looking for this. probably more than anything else, is just are your kids having conversations, not with you, but with each other? And it's because of this idea right here of when teaching gets real for kids. So if you're just lecturing all the time, they're only remembering about 5% of what you say. And then we think about, by the end of the year, we're trying to hope that they remember everything you taught. That's only 5% of your information that they're gonna take away, if all you've done is lecture to your kids. And if you have them read it, they're gonna get 10% of it. As you're saying it, that takes, let me make sure I got this right, sorry.
Is that the red?
Yes, it's the red right here, that's audio and visual. They're gonna remember about 20% of what they hear. Let me see if I can dim a light, and that helps.
I just can't read it at all.
Yeah, it's small on there. If they have to demonstrate it, so you make them go up to the board and they're showing you how to do it on the board. If they're acting it out, they're still only gonna remember about 30% of what you teach. But the moment we hit discussion, they're gonna start remembering about 50% of what we teach. So the more we're having them talk to each other, the more they're retaining, and the truth is that they truly are engaged in the lessons. And when we have come into the classroom, that's something we've actually talked about, because we do have conversations every Monday about our scoreboard across the campuses. And that's something we've actually talked about is, y'all are so involved in something, sometimes y'all are having to lean into a specific kid because it's behavior or because they're struggling, whatever it is, so y'all don't always get to hear all the conversations. And y'all, it's really neat and stuff, because I would say anytime I've seen guided discussion used, probably 98% of the time, every kid is engaged in the conversation. Even when they sometimes may not look like they really are, but they're being silly about it, and maybe that's not appropriate at the time, but they still are having the conversation. And they're using the vocabulary, whereas that y'all are giving them. They're using sentence sounds if y'all are giving them that. So they really are trying to do what y'all want them to do, and you can hear them regurgitate teachers is the best way I can say it. Because some of them will put on their little teacher hats, and they're doing the guided discussion, and they will become Miss Wade or Miss Rosie, and they will say it just like y'all did. So why the lecture is important, so when they're now presenting it and they're becoming the teacher, they're really diving into it, and they're really making sure that they understand it as much as they want to make sure that their classmates are understanding what they're saying.
What are the bottom, before you go on?
Okay.
I've even had I've heard a kid say, when we've done similar stuff, say, do what Miss Robertson said to do.
Yes.
And I'm like, somebody's listening, you know? Remember when and I hear that a
Yes.
lot.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
And
But what
so
are the bottom ones?
this is 75% is retained when they do it. So when they're practicing the skill and they're doing it consistently, 75% of it's retained. 90% of it, and this is where I actually think guided discussion is more important, is when they teach others. So when they're actually taking that discussion and you're saying, hey, teach your partner how to do this step of the process. Or, and that's a math thing, but like even in reading and stuff, teach your partner how to infer, and you give them an example of a passage, and then they have to teach them how they would infer something. They're now teaching it, but they're still having guided discussion. So to me, that's if you're having discussion and you're formulating it right, they're gonna hit that 90%. All right, so this is a YouTube video that we're gonna stop and we're gonna watch, and it's just a teacher doing it. It is based off the 7 steps, and so you're gonna see multiple steps in there. Excuse me. But hopefully it'll give you an idea of just a way you can do it in the classroom.
What addition is. And you're going to do that by using these 2 sentence steps. When you blank, you blank. When you add, you blank. Or addition means you blank. Mirror. Mirror, mirror.
Mirror, mirror.
When you add, you blank.
You blank.
Addition means
Addition means
you blank.
you blank.
Ready?
Ready.
Teach.
Okay. When you add, you add.
I love that you Why you? Alright, so who wants to share with me what addition means? Alan.
Addition means you join.
Addition means you join. Thumbs up if you agree. Very good. Ariana.
Addition means you go right on the number line.
Excellent. You go right on the number line. Zachariah.
Addition means you combine two numbers or more.
I love that word. You combine two or more numbers. Mia?
When you add, the number increases.
When you add, the number increases. Very good, because your brain, that was awesome. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
You are going to add 327 plus 199. 327 plus, what did I say? 199. 20 seconds, go. So now you're going to turn to your partners and you are going to explain to them what you did using transitional words. Okay? And what are those transitional words? Mauricio?
First, then, finally, then, second, third.
Those are some of them, right? Okay, are you ready?
Ready.
Teach.
Okay.
I love that you told them like that. Okay. So now you explain what you did. We're going to go ahead and move on to multiplication. So let me pick on somebody to tell me 3 different ways to multiply. Who can tell me 3 different ways to multiply? Angela.
Can I ask a friend?
Yes, you may. Why don't we all talk to our partners? Remember to look at our anchor charts and tell each other 3 different ways to multiply. How many ways?
3.
Ready?
Ready.
Teach.
Okay.
Why you? Alright, Angela, can you tell me now 3 different ways to multiply?
Yes. An array, repeated addition, and a number line.
And a number line, okay.
I need more, this made me think, I need more dry erase markers.
And get you those. But so this was a younger class and stuff, but you saw how quickly she was able to do turn talks and stuff, and you don't have to be on the floor to do that. But the sentence stems gave the kids a way to get started and stuff. So our kids, especially our ESL babies and stuff, that still have struggle with how to get that across and stuff, so sentence stems are a good thing to add into your guided discussion. But like y'all,
I noticed that whenever the kids answered, they always answered a complete sentence.
yes,
Addition means so-and-so, so-and-so. Addition means.
And she gave them those sentence stems to make them do that.
yes.
Yeah.
That's when she did the total responses and stuff, when she was saying blank.
Mhm.
So every other word was a sentence down, and then they knew that blank, and they had to fill that in. It's really important that we make sure that our students have the ability to have that conversation. So that's why she's building in those sentence stems, and I think that a lot of times we assume that the older kids are gonna get that, but especially in math, like, I don't know how to do a complete sentence sometimes in math myself, because I'm so used to, like, here's the problem, let's answer it and stuff. So I need to start pushing into, hey, when I want my students to respond in complete sentences, I've gotta give them the capacity to do that. Miss Summer had mentioned like that she struggles because she's so used to, she calls it out, that they shout an answer and go. So I told her, like, just to get the kids started, and y'all know it's 5th grade, just the answer is. And then once they start mastering that, then I'm gonna pull onto the answer to blah, blah, blah is this. And then it becomes the answer to this is this because.
I like to say, like if the question is, how many pairs of shoes did she have? She had so-and-so pairs of shoes.
Correct.
Well, and that's
Okay.
like with our daily spiral, that problem of that day.
We repeat the question in our answer.
The bottom with the explain and justify, they have to answer the question in a complete sentence and give the reason why or how they got that answer.
And that's gonna be important because we don't know if it's true or not and stuff, but we have heard rumors that SCRs come to math.
And I just keep hoping, it's gotta stick eventually because we do it every single day.
Yes, and I think that the big thing is now that we're aligning and stuff, if we make sure that, because I can only speak for our kids, and y'all know that and stuff, but when I go into stuff like, that's one of the things that I constantly try to like look for is our math teachers really like digging into how they can have students talking and, like you said, justifying their answers, because until they learn to justify, I can't do anything, because a lot of times I'm thinking, well, he can give you any answer, but he doesn't know why he has it. So he doesn't really understand the concept.
Well, and I even struggled with the explain and justify at first. It's like, just write and answer just answer the question.
Yeah.
No, you gotta dig deeper.
Deeper. Yeah, because when you actually understand why you're doing it,
Right.
it becomes a lot easier in the long run.
Yes,
Well, I
And
know,
see, to me, I need to know
the why.
the why, because that helps me understand how to do the problem.
Yes.
Because, see, math-brained people think on a different level than the literary people
Yeah.
think for a math problem. And so I wanna know why this is how to get to the answer. I have to look at numbers like you look at words,
Absolutely, and I think
you know?
that's
And,
it exactly.
and you're gonna have kids in your math class that are more literary minded.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I have more kids that in reading that are more math minded.
Minded.
They don't need all that.
Yeah.
And it brings me back to the problem of the day. It's like, in the beginning, when in the no part, they want to just write numbers. I'm like, well, and my kids in fact, they started doing it today. Somebody said 42, and they were like, 42 what, boogers? Because I'm like, I'm a boy mom. Boogers, dirty diapers, rotten apples.
Yeah.
And the kids now do that if they don't put the labels on it, because if it's just a number, it means nothing. You
Exactly.
gotta know that label.
Exactly.
I like to discuss why the answers, some answers are not the answer too,
Mm-hmm.
especially if there's
Yes.
choices.
And that's powerful. And I would guess that if a kid can do that of why it's not the answer, they're really hitting that teach side of it. So that's that 90% that we're aiming for, that's retention.
And I tell them it's the only time they can use these words. Those are our dumb answers. We always look to find our dumb answers to get rid of them, because
Yep.
it makes our life easier.
Yep. So yeah, and I did that. I called them silly answers. So what are our silly answers? What are the ones that you just laugh at because you know you're not gonna get there? So that's important. So those can become your discussion topics. Alright, so we're gonna practice it and stuff. I'm trying to watch time, because I want to make sure I don't go too long. And then we're gonna kind of come up with a list of ways that we can do guided discussion in the classroom. But first, we're gonna do a practice. So your guided question is gonna be, how can I effectively incorporate guided discussion into my lesson? And if we don't think about how we're planning while we're doing our lesson plans, because I'll be honest with y'all, some of y'all are amazing at turning it on, and I can tell, yes, that, okay, they didn't do that. They did it because I walked in the room, and I love it. Keep doing it. anytime I walk in the room, but if you have it built into your lesson plans already, of, oh, I know I wanna have a discussion about this, you're gonna be able to go more in depth. You're gonna think of stems prior, cause you're not, if I walk in the room, you don't have stems for that, but you're gonna have stems if you're thinking about it in planning. I am gonna give you,
Okay, but can I say something though?
yes,
Because a lot of times, a lot of what I do comes about by how we're doing it.
yes, and I'm,
Through the
And,
discussion.
and I see that
natural.
we need to do more of this, or we need to do that. And I guess since you brought up planning, I mean, I don't always know, because I have to look at it over the week. I have to look and see with this new reading program, I've gotta see, what am I gonna do?
But you do it, cause I borrowed that book from you, and she already had her questions like labeled in the book
uh-huh,
that you wanted to ask the kids
yeah.
and discuss. So I know that you do what she was talking about, so.
Yeah, and, okay,
Yeah, you're overthinking it. You do naturally, for the
Well,
most part, we naturally
yeah.
do that, I think more so as reading teachers than we do as math teachers. Because we know what we wanna elicit from those stories and stuff. But all we're asking is that we just plan with intentionality. I'm gonna grab.
well, you know, when you
some-
come in my room, you're gonna get
Yeah,
the
and,
same thing every time, I mean,
and
I
I
don't do anything different when
absolutely
you walk
want
through
y'all.
the door.
I know, it almost seems like everybody walks in when I'm doing
Yeah,
daily spiral.
I
I do
don't
teach more than
change
that.
on mine.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with Daily Spiral.
no, you need to do
No,
I'm teaching
Yeah.
every TEK every 2 to 3 weeks.
This is another part to me that is important for,
Readiness week,
No
right?
ma'am,
All of them,
every
okay.
single TEK,
Okay.
every single tested TEK.
just so you know, the solo sandwich is also part of, to me, they go hand in hand and stuff.
oh my gosh, I don't understand that word.
I know, but
Can we
just
call it something else?
think time. It's think time.
Okay.
That's all it is it's think time. Solo sandwich is think time. So I'm gonna give y'all 2 minutes, and I just want you to think about the guided question, and you can kind of take notes and stuff. That way you'll be better prepared to have the discussion here in a second. I have this right here. I got one right here. Hold on.
I don't know.
So, you're gonna work until the timer goes off. Just
What's our question?
it is, how can I effectively incorporate guided discussion into my lesson? You can think of one specific lesson, or you can think of it in the general sense, however it works better for you. But you're just gonna work, and I want you to keep right until the timer goes off, so you do have 2 minutes. And so, when you think about a quick jot, it doesn't have to be sentences.
Okay.
This is just,
Bullet
there's-
points.
Yes, bullet points. So a trainer that I was in the other day used, is thought vomit. You're vomiting your thoughts on paper, so it may not make sense to anybody around you. So when you're doing this with your kids, if you walk around and you're like, what are they doing? As long as they can explain it to you, that's all that matters. So you may begin now. How can I effectively incorporate guided discussion into my lesson?